Hello everyone, my name is Gulshan Memoria. I'm the founder and CEO of Inspiredvalley. We've started this initiative called the Inspired Valley School Initiative, where we connect with the best minds in the educational world and to discuss some of the very prominent topics. Like today's topic is fostering a growth mindset in students and the techniques for encouraging a love of learning. To discuss this topic, we have some esteemed panelists with us. The very first speaker we have is Miss Anju Arora. She is the Director of Academics, the Rose Orchid World School at Paonta, Sahib, Himachal Pradesh. Next, we have Miss Preetha Abraham. She is a principal at Vikas Mantra Public School, Mahindra World City at Tamil Nadu. We also have Miss Monika Gupta. She is a principal at DAV Public School, Indira Nagar, Lucknow. And we also have Miss Jhumur Gehlot. She is working as Headmistress at Maharana Mewar Vidya Mandir, Udaipur, Rajasthan. I welcome you all on our show.
Thank you.
Let me start the very first discussion with Anju ma'am. Being working in this industry and being the stalwart of this industry. Anju ma'am, why we require this growth mindset in students? Let's start the discussion with this interesting topic. Over to you. Anju ma'am, is my voice is loud and clear to you?
Yeah, it's clear, but still.
It's okay. It's okay. My question was.
I have checked my device.
Yes, it's okay. My question was
Everything is
why
fine.
we
You are
require.
getting my voice clear?
Yes,
Yeah.
your voice is absolutely clear. My question was why we require the growth mindset in students.
Growth mindset.
Yes.
So, yes, good evening, everyone. I'm Anju Arora, Director Academics at the Rose Orchid World School, as Gulshan has already told, in Paonta Sahib. And I am working with children for the last 28 years.
Mm-hmm.
And what I notice is that growth mindset, what you're talking about, it's not the need of the today. It has been perhaps the need of all times, right? We are working in a dynamics which is constantly changing, and what I believe, change is the only constant, right?
Exactly.
And now the speed of change is so fast that by the time we learn one thing, we are faced with the other challenges to learn and grow to that level.
Exactly.
And if we do not cultivate the growth mindset in the children from the very beginning, they're not going to be able to cope up. This is what I see. Growth mindset is always needed, will always be needed, but then it has to be inculcated.
Exactly.
And that's why I believe it's important for all
Wonderful.
of us to think about this, what it is, and how can we inculcate that.
Wonderful.
And it's a value, it's a belief system, and how do we first place it in the place, and then we nurture it over the time.
Wonderful. Thank you, Anju ma'am. I would like to have some views with Miss Preetha also. Preetha ma'am, would like to have your views on this. The same question, why we require the growth mindset. Do you also concur the same with Miss Anju, or you have some other views?
Yes, I concur because growth mindset has always been a necessity and which will always remain until human, presence on this planet. See, this has also been validated by the psychologist Carol Dweck, who suggested that intelligence, abilities, and skills can be acquired and can
Exactly.
always be made better and better. Talent is something which will be innate in a child or so, but these are the other things, that the intelligences, the abilities, these are acquired skills, and one should always work upon, if they don't have, to acquire it, to develop it, to enhance it, to improve it, to make it better. So as principals, what we have to do is support by providing an ambience of learning in the school. There should be a healthy competition. We should inculcate that kind of things. I'm not talking just about schooling of subjects, but the school itself encompasses that the child has to be made better in all kinds of way. Transformation, that is what education is meaning about. So how
Exactly.
do we bring about a transformation in the child? So first thing they need to be made to understand is learning is for life. Learning is everywhere.
Exactly.
Every minute of the day, learning is there. So learning cannot be bracketed in a classroom or in a lab or anywhere, but learning is everywhere. When a child reads a billboard while traveling with the parent, he's learning. So
Exactly.
when a girl child learns to see that the tea boils, she's learning that the tea is brewing. So
Exactly.
she understands. So learning is everywhere. Learning cannot be segregated or isolated or kept in a certain area. So this is something. We need to provide an ambience. The parents have to provide at home, teachers and school has to provide the learning ambience. That kind of competitiveness has to come not only just in sport and other activities, but in learning activities also. So today's project work, group work, everything provides the children that kind of an avenue. Then we need to
Exactly.
celebrate all kinds of accomplishments that the children make, whether
Let
it is
me
a small one or a big one, whatever. Yeah. Yes.
let me ask you your question, then we can discuss more in depth, especially with
Yes.
this regard to. Okay, so
Yes.
research suggests that the students with a growth mindset are more likely to, can say, preserve and achieve higher academic success, right? So
Yes.
what
Yes.
specific strategies can principals implement to cultivate this mindset among their students? Specifically,
Yeah.
the strategies we're talking about. Please, over to you.
Yes. So, like I was saying, providing ambience. Now, how do we provide? Not just examinations. If we bring in diagnostic tests like Olympiads, spell bees, these are a way where children understand that learning is in different areas also, not just in the subject. So, there are competitions like role play. There are competitions like acting, theatrics. All this is a learning. This is
Exactly.
making the child, giving exposures to the child that when they go to higher educational institutions, they are better equipped to handle things. And the role plays provide them a greater insight into how they have to be in their workplaces when to make them more employable in this. So learning has to be provided in various avenues in the school, not just in the classroom alone. And we can't keep it that learning only happens there. Learning happens everywhere, and more than that, the application of that learning is what the child and the teacher has to work upon, and the child has to understand ki what I'm learning here in the classroom is actually required to me in life at every step.
Okay.
I always say, see, after completing civil engineering, also after learning measurements in all areas, ask a grown up boy who has completed, boy or a girl, go get a vessel to get one liter of milk, and they will be, kind of like, which vessel, mom, this one or this one, they will ask. Okay. So, what is all that measurement and everything they have learned about? They've learned, they've completed everything. Theoretically, they've completed everything, but applying that, now, this was a very simple example, which sounds very funny, but it is true.
Yes, exactly.
So, after all the learning, did they apply it? Then what is the learning for? So, that is where the growth mindset comes. Are we doing it just for the sake of examination, or are we doing the learning for the child's growth? Child's becoming smarter or becoming employable. If I talk in the layman's tongue,
Exactly.
becoming employable.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
this is something. So how do we do it? We can always have them collaborative learning, peer group learning, that is collaborative teaching can also happen. These are certain things which, if inculcated in the schools by principals, a growth mindset will come among. When they understand that their teachers are preparing and coming, their teachers are acquiring more and more, this brings in a inquisitive mind among the students also. They will also want to grow, they will also want to prepare better, ask more questions. When we are encouraging their questioning skills, this is very good. A child who is able to question is a child who is thinking, and
Exactly.
once they are thinking, they are growing. So that is the best part of it. Then connecting with the parents, we need to also educate the parent, because a good amount of their time goes at home. So are
Exactly.
they making use of that time? Do they have a schedule where they learn? Are they organized in their home study? So parents also have to be educated. I know all
Exactly.
parents in our cities and all, everywhere, parents now we have is they are second generation, third generation, fourth generation learners. So it is not, they would think that school does not have to tell. We know we are also professionals, but children, their needs, their intelligences are all different. Their styles
Exactly.
of learning are different. So
It
they
does.
also
It does happen
require,
to certain
yes,
extent.
they
Okay.
also require counseling.
Let
And
me.
I think career counseling is something which we should start very early, so that children become focused on what they want, what their ambition is, how are they going to achieve it. Small time goals, long term goals, these are certain things which school and the parents together have to work upon, to the students, connect and talk a lot. Talking is very, very much important with the children. We have to tell them every time, then and then. That is where encouragement happens.
Wonderful.
Yes,
Let me.
revisiting their aim and
Huh.
goal, this
Let me.
happens.
Thanks a lot. Let me take some views from Jhumur ma'am as well. Is my voice is clear to you, Jhumur ma'am? Would like to
Yes,
have your views also, because you're also, working in a very reputable school in Udaipur. So I'm sure that your school is also doing a lot, especially encouraging students. So what sort
well,
of strategies that you're applying to bring this growth, especially this growth mindset among the students?
Mr. Gulshan, I would like to take it one step further.
Please.
To promote growth mindset in students, we have to promote the growth mindset in teachers too. But because it begins from there.
We discussed this topic last time in the last webinar. This was the topic. Yeah, please.
Yes. So when the teachers showcase or demonstrate a growth mindset, it naturally encourages students to follow the same suit. And as teachers, we have improved and grown so much in last so many years, especially post COVID, that I think nobody in the entire country would have imagined that the teaching community, who were considered the basic, they'll go to the class, they'll do their teaching and come back and happy ending. And so imagine after 2 years of COVID, where have we reached? So we right now from different parts of the country are talking and discussing about students. This wouldn't have happened, unless we ourselves have the growth mindsets. I think to promote growth mindsets, the first thing is to set examples.
Exactly. You have rightly hit the code. Yes. Wonderful.
Yes. Children understand that even teachers have passions. And they pursue their passions. They go for it. They go for further trainings. They go for further seminars, workshops, trainings, classes. So that itself is a huge encouragement. Sometimes all the schools are going through all these procedures, but we fail to share them with the students and the parents.
Yes.
I believe that we should be sharing it all the while, because even the parents are happy when they see that their teaching community is growing and the teaching community is learning. Automatically, it results into growth mindset in parents and the students. We come to the students in the school. The first thing we need to encourage is to help the students to understand their own personal passions. Every child is special in some or other way. Every child has a blessing, which we either fail to understand, or sometimes the blessing or the ability is not discovered till very late years. We as teachers, we as principals should be able to identify those characters in the child and should be able to encourage those. And now we have to give them a subtle push that go ahead and you pursue your passions. Automatically, the children will be, doing better, excelling in their academics, excelling in their sports or art or music or culture. So it's not about academics all the time. Not everybody is good in academics, but some of them are excellent painters. I had a student 3 months ago. She has represented the school at Rashtrapati Bhavan, and believe me, she's an RTE student, get education and very, very mediocre in academics. But she happens to be an excellent painter, and her painting poster was selected by Petroleum Ministry, and she represented Rajasthan at national level. So
that's a good example, and we should be giving this kind of examples very often.
Yes. So identifying the passion, then pushing the child to pursue it, rather than putting everybody in the same framework and trying to persuade a fish to climb a tree. So that won't make sense. So we as teachers need to first identify and then push, and then we should always tell them that we are there, we are connected. We means society, the community, the teachers, the parents. So we are connected with you. You just go ahead, and we are there to support you, to handhold where is necessary.
There is one question which I would like to ask you. I mean, being the principal in some of the very reputed schools, then I'm sure that that you are in a position to discuss this problem, or as a challenge, I would rather say. So recently the result came in. I mean, this 10th standard and the 12th standard. And almost every school, I'm not talking about some of the exceptions, but almost every school, they pointed out, okay, our student achieved 95% marks, or our student achieved 98% marks, right? And every school made a very beautiful posters, and they have put in 1 or 2 students, or maybe 5 students, I mean, the pictures, right? So my question arises now, the student who scored 50% or 40% or 60%, what are we portraying to them? I mean, at the same time, we are talking about this growth mindset. But now we are only projecting those who are exceptions, and exceptions will be there, right? So I'm sure we need to talk about this. Rather, we just be pointing out some of these students who are good, or 90% or 99%, because everyone will do something good. The way Miss Jhumur has mentioned that the student is very good in painting, right? So we should be projecting what all student is achieving in different areas. And if that person is not achieving, that is not the end of life. Maybe right now he is not having that criteria, or maybe when you pointed out the career guidance, maybe he is not having that goal right now. Later in his or her life they will acquire it. So are we having that kind of a growth culture in the school? Over to anyone. Okay, you can raise your hand, then one by one I'll give you the opportunity. First, I'll give you the opportunity to Monica ma'am. I believe she is waiting for past 20 minutes. Please, we welcome you on our show, ma'am.
Good evening to all. As I was listening since long to all three, and I totally agree with all the three principles what they are saying. And definitely the growth mindset is required, because what CBSE and the nationwide PM sir is also saying about G20 in education sector. Today entire world is listening to us. I'm not giving the name to the PM sir, but it's true that Indians have talent. And nowadays we are talking about interdisciplinary sections. That means that you can say stream has been abolished. Now
Okay.
student can study history with chemistry,
Exactly. Yes.
chemistry with political science, and universities are also managing the courses according to that.
Exactly.
So
Yes.
now the student is having a lot, you can say their platform and the field is widespread. So what we can do, we can need to provide, as you're saying that other 50 students who are scoring 50%.
Exactly. Yes.
So what the board is saying that we need to prepare a portfolio right from the class nursery. And that portfolio is having all the details of the student. The child is specialized in what? Then when the child is passing out 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4, when he is she is passing out, definitely at the end child is specialized in one or the other activities, or you can say that personality will be enhanced. So this we need to implement. And for this, first of all, we have to unlearn, learn, and ready to learn. This first of all we have to make in our mindset, then our teachers has to do it, learn, unlearn, and then again ready to learn the new
So
things.
what you are
Because-
suggesting, yeah, Poonam ma'am, what you are suggesting, it's something that the teachers need to work a lot when it
Correct.
comes to
Because
giving
what
something concrete.
we
Yes.
have studied a pen paper test. Nowadays, class nursery child who has just 3.5 years is able to do a Google Meet link. That we need to learn at the, when we became principals, then we learned that how to have a Google Meet and Zoom classes, how to generate link. But nowadays, a 3.5-year-old child is able to operate a tablet. So we have to, first of all, groom ourselves that we can come up to the expectations of the child. Nowadays, children are having a lot of talent.
Wonderful,
We-
wonderful. Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks a lot. Okay, let me take the views with Ms. Jhumur. Please, over to you.
This is regarding
The question which I asked. Yeah.
Yes, the board results you were mentioning. So,
Yeah.
definitely we in our school we have been very very balanced in our approach. So when the results were good, excellent, 100%. So instead of highlighting one or two child or the topper, we in our social media have given the entire class photograph to congratulate them for their excellent work and result.
Exactly.
Not any name or any percentage. So that is a collective performance. And trust me, in the staff room, the maximum celebration was for the student whom we were kind of scared whether he'll make it through or not. And he got 37%. So the outburst of joy was for him, not for 97%.
Exactly.
We need a perspective and in the team, depending on their abilities. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. Over to you, Anju ma'am. I believe we are facing some.
Yeah, no, it's perfectly all right. Am I
Yeah.
audible?
Yes, you are audible, ma'am. Please,
Yeah,
over to
what
you.
I believe when we are talking about growth mindset, what I believe growth mindset is more of a belief system, which must be definitely, as ma'am has said, portrayed by the teachers first, right? The idea portraying one student or many students, that's a part of philosophy that we believe that all children are doing their best, and we must not only be portraying our 90 plus
Exactly.
percentage score.
The prodigy,
Everybody
yes.
has done their best. Now coming to the promotion of this growth mindset, and like ma'am has said this, the teachers need to be modeling this first. Everything that comes our way, when we are ready to learn, we are sending a message to our children also that we are learning. All
That
said
is
and
there.
done, at micro level, what are we doing to place it in the minds of the children what is in our ethos.
Hmm.
If in the classroom, if a child is struggling to achieve, to learn the lesson at different steps, and we
Hmm.
snub the child by telling that you won't be able to do this beyond that, this is beyond you,
Hmm.
despite doing everything for the teachers ourselves, we are actually not nurturing the growth mindset in the children.
Hmm.
What we speak to the children when they struggle, when they achieve something, right? In the entire process of this growth mindset settling in the students, we have to focus more on the process and efforts
Hmm.
rather than focusing on the outcomes. Now, relate that to 90 plus students. Why should they be projected out? Because that's the result of the school. But what were the process and the efforts from all other children? If that is celebrated, like Jhumur ma'am has just shared the
Hmm.
story of her school, that was
Hmm.
wonderful to know. We have
Hmm.
just not promoted two children. So this sends message that our efforts, our baby steps towards learning, or maybe whatever we have scored to the best of our capacity, if
Hmm.
that is admired and appreciated and acknowledged, I, as a student, am motivated to learn further, to keep that, develop that
Exactly.
attitude. And
Exactly.
like Mama said, learn, unlearn, relearn.
Hmm.
I personally believe it as my success mantra. Learn,
Hmm.
unlearn, relearn. More than the students are learning, we just have started. I'm sharing that example and why I did. Now, when I relate, perhaps I did it because I wanted to show to the children that we as teachers are also learners. We started the French classes in the school just right now, one month back,
Hmm.
and these are online classes being given by some resource person from the outside who cannot come to visit the campus every week. So online classes. I have also started learning that French with children, and now what the fun we have, the children are answering faster than me, but they are also getting a message that while learning, ma'am
Hmm.
also makes mistakes.
Hmm.
Yeah.
The whole purpose of sitting with the children is to make them realize that anything can be learned at any stage, and while learning, we are prone to make mistakes. Make
Hmm.
mistakes.
That's
Tell
a
your
very good example. Wonderful. Wonderful.
and I'll share one more thing. Like you were talking about the students, those who are good in arts, and some student who was selected for the to represent the state.
Hmm.
Believe me, when we are talking about multiple intelligences and we are focusing only on the academics in the school, on literary and numeric thing, this number smart people we are promoting. So we are definitely not promoting the growth of the children, those who are differently talented, right?
Exactly.
We have stories. I have stories, n number of stories to share. There was a guy in class 11th and 12th, 11th. The student was forced to opt non-medical by the parents.
Okay.
We knew the child is struggling with the science and maths, but
Hmm.
despite running all career awareness programs, career counseling in the school, your multiple intelligence mapped, aptitude tests done, at the end of the day, it is the parents say that we have to follow, right? And that parent was adamant that my child will study non-medical.
Hmm.
Somehow 11th was managed, not managed, the child had back in two subjects, I believe two or three subjects.
Hmm.
Then two subjects he cleared, and for one particular subject like chemistry, the child, we allowed him to take three attempts because we knew the child actually was struggling with the subjects,
Hmm.
and the child cleared. Now, in the middle of class 12th, that boy said, I am no longer going to do. He stopped coming to school. And 4 days into a row, 8 days, 10 days, then we made inquiries and then we got to know. I had a call with the boy. And then he told me straight, ma'am, I am no longer able to manage it. I won't study it further. And now we were in a. I called the parents. I had a word with them. I said, now we are in a fix. What
Hmm.
should we do? Do you have any plans? He said, no. I said, but I have a plan. Are you ready? Are you open to accept it? He said, ma'am, sure. Because the parent by that time, they knew, they were desperate, and they understood that a mistake has been made knowingly or unknowingly by them
Hmm.
by forcing the child for that. And then I knew that child, like ma'am was sharing that we are making profiles and portfolios of the children from nursery classes.
Hmm.
We knew that the child was pretty good at drawing, pretty good at drawing. And then we had a word with our career counselor. Then we found out the courses which were available for the child to take in through
Hmm.
that animation that he can do through his drawing and all. We found out that there is a course in animation,
Hmm.
and then for it the admission was like you have to clear a test, and then you get the admission. And the eligibility to appear in that test was 60% marks.
Hmm.
Then we sat down with the boy, we had a word with him, and we just talked to him. You just managed to score 60% and prepare for the next these 6 months. Prepare for this test. We provided him all the means books and content that was all needed. Of course, with the help of the career counselor, he provided him everything. We got the forms and all filled, and that boy cleared. That boy cleared the test. Out of 200 students, those who were supposed to be given admission, his rank was 26th.
That's
And he
amazing.
got the admission. And believe me, that year, it is way back, 7 years back, that boy, he was the lowest scorer of the class for that particular year. He managed 63.2, something like. He managed the eligibility. But when we talked this midway, in the mid of the session, the boy, the hope was ignited. And then he prepared for that. He cleared, and now he is already beaten in that animation. And he is successfully placed and doing again now the drawing, not this way, animation.
But
on
in
the
some
board.
other way. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay.
That's so
That's a yeah.
happy. And I keep sharing this story at almost every platform, because I know that was one child who could have been dumped, but the child came out as the stronger. But
I'm
then
sure.
somebody had to support. Somebody had to support.
Exactly.
And that somebody is all of us. Because we know our children from the childhood.
I'm sure
What
this
they are
example will bring more, can say, broad mindset. I mean, especially with all this educators community.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
And
Thank
I
you.
want
Thank you
to-
so much
I
for
want
sharing
to-
it, ma'am.
I'm sorry. I would add one point more. And
Please.
not only students' growth mindset, teachers' growth mindset, we have to take the parents on board so that their mindsets are also grown now. They are also looking at the things in a different perspective, and they
Well-
also
Should always
Three
like
of
the
us
way,
together.
this parents
three of
orientation
us,
programs.
three
Wonderful.
of us together.
Great. Okay, let me ask. Thank you so much, Anju ma'am, for sharing this wonderful example. Okay, let me ask the next question with Jhumur ma'am. So, Jhumur ma'am, building resilience is an essential component of fostering a growth mindset, right? So, we're focusing on especially on the resilience. So, how can principals, especially the leaders, the school leaders, promote the resilience in students, particularly during the challenging times or when facing some setbacks? Because I know in this current world, which is going on, there are a lot of setbacks the students are going to face. I mean, anyhow, then and now. So, how we can foster as a culture of facing or building more resilience in them?
Yes. Gulshan, I'm glad that you have asked this question today, because the Times of India is lying in front of me, and if you have gone through, I don't know which edition do you get. I, it in my hand. It has two pictures. One student is a topper of Barmer region,
Okay.
and can you believe it? His father and grandfather, they are mentally challenged. Mother, a day laborer, and the child himself he has almost given up, and he went to work in a mill in Ahmedabad. Only his abilities were recognized by a teacher who forced him to prepare and appear for NEET exams. And he has cleared it, and not only cleared it, he's the topper of Barmer region, and his picture is in the front page of Times of India.
This is
Hello?
amazing example of
Amazing.
resilience.
Yes. So this is in the worst possible scenario. He is from a rural background. Parents are uneducated. Father is not well. He himself is a worker. Mother is a daily laborer. And there's another child who is from Gadchiroli. Again, a very tribal.
I've been there, yes, and near
Yes.
Nagpur. I've been
And
there.
he had also, his parents, though, had the dream that the child would become a doctor one day, and he has cracked it, and he has made through some prestigious, his marks are such that he'll make through some prestigious colleges of India. So, live example of how resilience can take a student from one level to another level. If he only needs the proper guidance and the push. Now, in both the cases, because the children belong to tribal or rural area, so definitely the push was not from the parents. So this push has come from a teacher or a principal. A principal is a teacher forever.
Exactly,
So
yes.
this come from a teacher who could identify what is special in the child or what is the quality of the child, and then has given him that direction. So that is how we have to take each child in urban perspective, because we all are in urban areas. In urban perspective, thankfully the parents are educated, they are aware, they know what is right or wrong, and in most of the cases they are able to guide the students, kids. But it also has the other side of the coin, because sometimes there's too much of push, there's too much of guidance, too many coaching classes, too much of pressure on the children. So now the child is completely lost, and there's so much of pressure on him. Now there comes the role of the principal or the educator or the teacher, how to do the hand holding and take him to the right path.
Exactly.
Yes.
And moreover, I mean, as you have mentioned, I gave the example of NEET, right? This NEET exam. I mean, this is the perfect time for me to give that example, that why this resilience is required. I mean, in the last webinar also, I gave this example. So this year, 20.3 lakh gave the NEET examination, right? Out of this, 14 lakh girls were there. And we have only 1 lakh 30,000 seats are there in the government and semi-government institutions. Not talking about this, the private institution would charge approximately 70 lakh to 90 lakh rupees just to pursue this MBBS degree. So anyhow, that we are asking, or we are saying to rest of this 18 lakh students, okay beta, that we don't have seats for you, right? If you want to pursue, now there are some other opportunity, but not in government and semi-government institutions. So definitely they have to be more resilient. So anyhow, out of only 20 students, only 2 seats are there. So this 18 students, we cannot say that they are not good at, because they are good at, they've already invested a good time of their life by studying science or this bio to almost good time of their life. So what are we doing about it? So maybe, I mean, you have rightly said, as a principal, we need to bring more, can say we need to play a more role in their life, right? Over to you, Anju ma'am. You have raised your hand. Maybe
Yes, yeah, I would love to add to this. You see, this is again a case of we have to come here with the resilience. We also have to teach our children that if everything is not coming out as planned by you, because it's not that you were not good, it's that because the system was not able to accommodate you. So you need to have alternative plans and other areas where you can go and excel. That's also part of growth mindset.
Exactly.
And we always need to prepare 2 or 3 plans with the children. Like we always do that. One is what is your ideal plan, then aspirational, then what is practical plan, because we know the number of seats available behind all the courses, especially your NEET and all this medical colleges, right? That also.
So we should not close the doors, okay, beta, with this much motivation, okay, beta, this is the thing you have to clear, this is, otherwise it will be the end of life, because a lot of people, they take their life, right, in quota. I mean, recently, because we have seen the way you've...
quota factory.
So this kind of...
asked to see that documentary, that film actually. And like you said, it's not the end of life, and I do believe, and the best part was that, again, a student of mine who was opting for medical or non-medical 6-7 years down the line, and his aptitude and everything was not coming out, but he wanted to opt. No pressure from the parents, no pressure from the teachers. He himself wanted to pursue.
Yes.
So I just had the final word with him. I said, do you understand the consequences? He said, yes, ma'am, I do understand. Let me try at least once. It's not going to be the end of my life. And when he spoke this, the end of my life, I said, you go for it straightforward. No second. Because if you are so mature and you are so courageous to say, if I'm not able to do good in this non-medical, it's not going to be end of my life. Go better. And he did well actually.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Anju ma'am, for sharing this wonderful example. Let me take views, Preetha ma'am also. Yeah, Preetha ma'am, over to you.
Yes, today's children, we believe that they are emotionally unstable. So this is something we need to, keep talking to the children right from at the school front, at the home front, everywhere. That is, counseling is very, very essential. Making them understand that failure is a stepping stone. It's not just an adage, but it is really a stepping stone. Failure teaches you what you are probably not very good at, or probably where you have to put, lay stress upon the SWOT analysis for the children. This is very, very essential. We have to make them understand, if you have lost in this, there is also a learning in this process. So with that learning, how are you going to move forward? So failure is something, it is very difficult for today's children to accept and adopt to, but we need to make them, understand that you can always move. There are so many plans, there is so many courses out there. If you have lost in one front, like ma'am said earlier, it is not the end of the world. There is more to it. World is such a wide place where there is a place for everybody. And every child, like if you are looking at, every child has some or the other potential or some talent, some innate skill in it, which can always be made use into, making a career of that child, or making an occupation, or making a mark in taking forward it. So making a child understand that failure means you're moving on a different plan, or you're moving to a different area, is what is that is only. So earlier we used to hear, I remember in our young days, children, if they lost in the examination, would go for suicide and all. That was one, back in the, probably in the 90s, 80s and all, it used to be very big thing. But thankfully now we don't hear that, because schools have such good counseling system where
Exactly.
children are, looked into, children are provided with knowledge that passing an examination is not actually the, the thing in life. So this is something in every classroom. Like I said earlier, learning should not be just with the intent of getting,
Exactly.
acquiring marks. Learning should be, is it going to affect my life, or how is my outlook going to be changed by this learning? That is what we have to lay stress upon. Learning cannot be just for, for acquiring marks. The day they understand, I think they will find out their own avenues. Okay, I like this, so
Exactly.
let me take this as a career. Earlier I was saying, like, there are so many career choices, and children keep moving. I want to be an astronaut at age, at class 3 he says, I want to be an astronaut. But at age, class 6, he will say, I want to be a painter. So the choices will keep changing. Now it's for the school to identify, okay, this is he good at. Looking at the portfolio, like ma'am suggested earlier, when we look at the portfolio, we can understand what is constant in the child's, portfolio. So that can be one input. Then of course parents, views are affecting. We Indian parents are like that. We always have a mindset about that child has to become this. It is always there. A doctor's son has to become a doctor, has to run the hospital. An engineer's son should become an engineer. So it is there. We can't. But I would say that in urban setups like ours, now parents are becoming aware that, let me not push my wish on to. But it is still there. When we look at the larger panorama of India, yes, it is still there. We have to accept it as educators. It is there. What do we do about, maybe in our own school we can, make children aware that, no, this is not just thing, you have other avenues also, and the world is a big
Exactly.
place. It
So,
will.
one small suggestion, this counseling, as you rightly mentioned, counseling should not be just one time affair. It has to
No.
be a continuous thing, and it's a part and parcel of the school ecosystem, right?
Yes,
That it's
yes,
so ingrained with this counseling, with the parents, with the students, and keeps on coming then and now. So this
yes,
should
yes.
not be okay thinking about, okay now एक बार हो गया तो that's fine. No, it's a
No, no.
continuous process. In ninth also you have been through all the counseling process, and 10th also. So keep on refining, because it will give you more, I can say, knowledge in terms of the all the career options which are available, especially with bio, especially with maths or chemistry. Not just one exam will lead to a perfect life, right?
No, I'm not just saying that counseling should be relegated only to the high school students. See, we have special educator who focuses upon the children in the primary. So if children have reading problems, or writing ability is a little less on, these children are dealt by the special educator, and they help them to come up right from the primary
Exactly.
classes. We are focusing upon the children, so we understand, okay, these children might have difficulty. See, whatever said and done, we need to, we have to accept that our children have to pass, and for passing, writing is very, very important. Expressing explicitly is very, very important for the board examination. So special educator goes on identifying those students in the primary areas, and helps them to read and write. Their comprehension grows, and that helps in the higher classes, where the student council can step forward for other kind of areas, by promoting children to have a positive mindset, have an attitude which will be more accepting, more adjusting, more sharing and empathetic. So So the different areas we cover with these kind of courses and counseling. Yes,
Wonderful.
school has to take all these initiatives.
Exactly, exactly. That's wonderful, Preetha ma'am, for sharing this wonderful example. Anju ma'am, I would like to ask you your question. I mean, this is so relevant. So, developing a love of learning is crucial for success, the students' long term success, right? The love of learning. So, what innovative teaching techniques or the programs have you effectively implemented in your school system, especially to generate this love of learning?
Yeah, well, see, we have been talking about, ma'am was just talking about the counselor, counseling, and you mentioned that counseling should not be one time thing, right? What I believe personally is that we have to set all our teachers to be counselors in the classrooms.
Very
One
true.
counselor or maybe two counselors in the school, as per the number of the students in the school, which is mandatory by the boards and all. Of course, they will do their part of the job, but every teacher needs to develop that acumen to find out where the children are struggling and referring to the counselor, but at the same time looking to the child herself or himself also is very important. All teachers today, if they have to be effective, have to be the counselor first. This is one thing that we empower our teachers in the classroom to be. We train them on this. How do they need to identify the emotional issues, behavioral issues? Behavioral issues are explicitly observed. Emotional issues and certain learning difficulties and learning abilities issues are not easily identified if the teachers are not trained. We train our teachers for that as well. Now, once you notice that this child will be needing help, we are able to do the justice to the needs and means growing needs of the growing children. One thing
Wonderful.
that we promote this, right? Second is that this ethos of growth mindset that we are talking has to be settled across the school in all the talks, starting from the means this becomes the second way of living in your own premises with everybody around.
Exactly.
I believe these two small changes, if we are able to make, that we set up all teachers to be the counselors and they speak in a manner, they deal in a manner, they connect in a manner wherein they bring out a child who's feeling low because the child was not able to perform good in some particular subject. The child feeling low because something is not happening right at the home. And if there is a teacher for the subject, if the teacher can divide the task into you can say achievable milestones, make the task easier for the child and then hold hands to take, the child will eventually learn. It is the enormity of the task which most of the time children are not able to handle at one at a time. And this also is part of setting growth mindset. You keep setting the milestones which are easily attainable by the students and you keep increasing their complexity, and children are able to see the children those who are struggling, rather than means tagging them. If we just tell them you are practicing it, and this struggle, this difficulty, this feeling of giving up that you feel in your mind, this actually is a sign that your brain wants to develop. Let us do it together. This is what you are doing. What can you do next? Where can I help you? And when the child who was about to give up achieves the next milestone, the mind and the growth mindset is already set. So this needs to
Great,
become the
great,
entire
great, great.
ethos, entire ethos.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Anju ma'am. Yes, over to you, Preetha ma'am. You've raised your hand. I believe you want to
Yes,
add your point, please.
yeah, thank you, Gulshan. I just want to take forward what Anju ma'am said. Every teacher should be a mentor. See, teacher, every class teacher will have just 30 or 32 children. So if she's mentoring those 32 children for an entire year, on every kind of skill, possibilities, all empathy, compassion, it's so easy for a person. It is very they are meeting every day. She's connected to the child, and when the child comes and shares, she's trying to take forward help in everything. So she's like a second mother. We say it's not just a saying. She's like a second mother to them. Small children will come up and tell stories. They love to tell their teacher, and they go and imitate their love teacher at home. So teacher is a mentor there. So when she's a mentor for 32 students, it takes forward every year. They get a new mentor. They get to learn something new. Experiences are adding, and the same value is made more and more firmer and firmer. So this is when school does like this, and when the students reach to the level of secondary, I'm sure that they are already well built emotionally, and resilience is built on the way. So this is
Wonderful.
very, very essential. Teachers need to mentor them. Like we used to call guru, right? What was the definition of guru? Then we became teachers and facilitators, educators, everything. But now we have to go back to that mentoring, which will encompass everything about a child, helping them emotionally, helping them socially, helping them to you grow up in the educational area everywhere.
Hmm.
So this is very, very essential. Like ma'am said,
Wonderful.
every teacher has to think up like that. Schools, we are harboring teachers. We are making them, we are orienting them to become more and more of mentors than just subject teachers.
That's a very, very good suggestion. I'm sure that this is very much required right now. So now, again, thank you everyone. Now we leads to the last section of our webinar, which we call it rapid fire round. So I'm sure that you've already given a lot of good suggestions. So now, with this rapid fire round, my question is how to foster a growth mindset in students. So you've already given a lot of good suggestions, right? But I want you to give me two more good suggestions wherein the question is how to foster a growth mindset in students. So I'm giving you 30 seconds to think about it, because by giving you good suggestions, so I'm sure when the teachers or the educators will hear out this webinar, they'll have something concrete to follow, right? So one by one, I'll come to you. First, I'll go to Anju ma'am, then Preetha ma'am, then last my Jhumur ma'am. Okay, and you need to give me two good suggestions how to foster a growth mindset in students. Fair enough. Shall we start?
Yes.
Fair enough. Over to you, Anju ma'am.
Yeah, first thing that I would like all teachers to do in the classroom is that they should not focus on the outcomes. They should focus on the process and efforts made by the children. One thing, and second that they can do is that since when we are talking to the children and when it comes to our mind that what gives the color to the skin, and we give so many of the riddles to the children to give exercise to their tongue, which is a muscle. Same way we can settle this value that your mind also, your brain also is a malleable muscle, and the more you practice it, the stronger it becomes. So when the children know that they are in the developing stages, their brain is also developing, they perhaps are more accepting of the challenges and struggle becomes normal for them in the academics.
So creating a more
Understanding-
supportive culture or environment in the classroom wherein the question should not be ended wala question. The question should be the open-ended questions that leads to more open conversations, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you. Over to you, Preetha ma'am. Your two good
Yeah.
suggestions.
Yes, I just want teachers to be reminded that every lesson plan of theirs should be, designed on the WARC model. That is the visual, auditory, reading, and kinesthetic model. If it is done, every child will be covered in that, if it goes by the WARC model. Another thing, what I want the teachers also to remember, as well as to tell the children, is that abilities are not predetermined. It is acquired, and any child can learn anything under the blue sky if provided an opportunity. So we as educators, we have to provide them that opportunity to become what they are destined to be. And perseverance is something which is very, very important. We say, the Rassi Avat Jati. I'm not remembering the
I
thing.
still remember that quote.
Yes. So perseverance, something that in the face of every challenge, perseverance is something we can outgrow it, and resilience, of course. So you see, after a dark night, there is a sunlight coming out. So there is a daybreak after the dark night. So we have to come up from whatever it is. Forget the failures. Come up again, try again is something that every teacher has to show through her
Efforts.
for the child to, because teacher is a role model for the child to follow and take up. So I think this is very, very necessary. We as principals have to showcase it, role model it, and teachers will take up from us, children will take up. I'm sure no child will be left out without an opportunity to become what the child was destined to become.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Over to you, Jhumur ma'am. Your
Yes.
two good suggestions.
The statement made by Preetha ma'am, definitely that's right. And we as teachers, we as educators, as principals, should make it very clear to the students that everything is possible. Everything is possible. But when the students have that belief in them, that faith, they can do wonders. And the time is now. There's no tomorrow. Whatever you want to do, whatever you want to achieve, whatever you want to learn, wherever you want to go, the time is now. And it begins maybe right now in the classroom, in the lab, in the playground, in the music class, but the time is now. And once they understand that, yes, For me, it is possible to reach my zenith, and I have to start working right now. I'm sure the growth mindset will follow.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you, everyone, Anju ma'am, Preetha ma'am, Jhumur ma'am, for sharing these lovely insights. I'm sure
Thank
when the educators will, all the principals will listen this webinar, they will have something concrete to follow up. So again, on the behalf of the entire team of Inspired Valley, I thank you everyone and wish you all the best for all your future endeavors. Thank you everyone.